Hi, everybody. I just thought I'd do a video because yesterday here in the Southern Hemisphere, it was Halloween, okay? Because whilst a lot of people celebrate at the end of October, it is a festival of death, and it's celebrated traditionally as the halfway point between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. And so the autumn equinox, which we had back on March 21st, and I'm speaking to those in the Southern Hemisphere, in Tantra, this is known as the Black Wedding, and it's often when there's a big initiation for our relationships. So you might have experienced a blow up or frustration around the shadow, so the unacknowledged or immature behavior impacting others, i.e., you and maybe your kids and so on. So this is a really challenging time for everybody personally, but especially for families, even with co-workers, those in intimate partnerships, as we get to the darkest days. And with yesterday, May 5th, the 5th of the 5th, so numerologically, that's certainly a day of change. Um, this is now the second initiation point of the darker months of autumn and winter. And so I wouldn't be at all surprised if many of you have been dealing with your inner dragon, your inner demons, the inner fears that you have coming up to show themselves so that you can confront them consciously and process them rather than avoid them and experience depression or sort of manic compulsive behaviors being unconsciously ruled by your fears. So in the ancient world, where the sacred feminine was honored, there would be festivals with ritual theatre and ceremonies to help people process the initiations of these gates. And this is something that I offer insight into in my membership. So for those of you watching, if you really like my daily lunar guidance, which is free, then you might want to check out my membership. There's a link in the post just to get more information on how the seasons are initiating us to mature and grow. Because in the ancient world, they really understood the impact that the seasonal wheel has on relationships. And knowing this information really can make or break relationships. So, just felt to sort of share that resource with you. But this week, I'm also highlighting my Ancient Wisdom series. And the reason for this is there are resources in it to help people specifically to navigate the darkening of days and how that evokes the shadow and has the power to sabotage us personally and our relationships. So this is a 3-part video series, so 3 video masterclasses that I shot in Bali. And the first one is called Navigating Life's Downward Spirals. Now, it sounds like a fairly enticing title, doesn't it? But basically, it is inevitable that we experience times where we feel like we're on a slippery slope, that no matter what we do, life is unraveling, it's falling apart, that our foundations are cracking beneath us. And given that we live in a very rational material paradigm, that can see people cracking up under the pressure, trying to hold everything together. This is what we know as stress. So if we view these times of chaos and change from the perspective of the sacred feminine, we can appreciate them as times of divine intervention, okay, where we are experiencing, if you will, the hand of God or the goddess or all of the above, blowing apart, okay, everything that is not in alignment with our highest destiny, with our core essence, and with what it is that we've agreed and come here to learn as a soul. So, whilst the ego, the personality, or the mind doesn't understand and tries to hold everything together, sometimes it is highest wisdom to let everything fall apart, including ourselves. You've probably heard the term break down to break through. So if you're finding life very challenging at the moment, and this isn't just for the brothers and sisters in the Southern Hemisphere, although it's more likely those of you experiencing autumn right now or fall will be experiencing a fall. Hopefully not a nails on the sort of descent, digging in, trying to hold yourself back into the everyday world. This is a time of allowing yourself to descend into the darkness, not evil, but the darkness within, to surrender to the unknowable, which is the realm of the feminine, the inner planes of existence, where your soul is calling you for an initiation, for a meeting, if you will, to confront yourself and to acknowledge what it is that needs to be released. What is it that needs to be let go of? What you have outgrown, just like a child wouldn't keep wearing shoes that are too tight if they've outgrown them. As adults, we can hang on to uncomfortable situations, even if they're not serving us, simply because we're more afraid of change and specifically the unknown. So, this is a time to acknowledge that death, psychological, emotional death, is essential on an annual cyclic basis if we are to mature and if we are to fulfill our true potential. So if you're currently experiencing increasing frustration, exasperation, grief, these are all, flags. Your sentient being is saying, enough. I cannot do this anymore in this way. And I need to go within in order to consult my innate wisdom, the wisdom of the soul. And I have, insights for you in this video series to help you to navigate the darkness within, because growing up in a patriarchal world, we're taught to fear the dark, we're taught to fear the feminine, we're taught to fear change, the unknown. And so it's become socially sanctioned, normalized, but it is not normal. As a result, we end up as a collective immature and operating in a way that is dishonoring of us, because we're avoiding that which would liberate us, that which would enable us to transcend suffering. So if this resonates with you, this message, I invite you to check out the link that is in this post. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about Halloween being on May the 5th in the Southern Hemisphere, well, this is because it is the halfway point between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. So now, as we head in to the winter solstice on June 21st, we're going to be challenged more and more through catalysts to look at our unacknowledged, wounded, rejected, shamed aspects, our beliefs, the stories that are running us, that are sabotaging us, and our behavior that is unconscious or run by the subconscious. So not necessarily, healthy choices. And so the reason that it is on May the 5th, not on May 1st, May Day, the equivalent of Beltane, the celebration of fertility and growth, which our brothers and sisters in the Northern Hemisphere have just experienced yesterday, is because in 1582, the Roman Catholic Pope Gregory, introduced the Gregorian calendar. And in doing that, 10 days were lost. So October 5 became October 15. So the dates of the solstices and the equinoxes were updated, but not the cross-quarter seasonal festivals of Imbolc and Mabon and Samhain, and I'm trying to remember the other one, Lughnasadh. So don't worry if you don't know what those dates are, but suffice to say, yesterday was Halloween for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere. And so this may be a time of endings for a lot of people. And we can only be in right relationship with life to fully honor the gift of life by growing, by acknowledging on a cyclic, regular basis what it is that needs to die. If we're not in right relationship with death, with endings, with the need to acknowledge what we've outgrown and release it with gratitude for the lessons learned, we will never be in right relationship with life and fulfill our potential. So I hope that this message has found you synchronistically today, because it's what you're dealing with. And you can check out the links in this post if you'd like more info. All right, blessings on your day, and I hope you enjoy the video series. Ciao for now.